Okay, so we left off where we could get the name. So let's implement the other get methods. Okay, so I will say getters. Okay, so we usually refer to these as getters, meaning they get the private variable so that you can see the private variables. So of course, to follow along, we could have get. Notice I start with get ID. Remember the getters, they do not accept anything. They do not have any parameters. Notice the parentheses are empty. However, they do return something. They return a string. And notice the getters are in the public section. Okay. So let's create the next one, string get major. Okay. Okay, so that's step number one. We need to do our declarations inside student.h, inside the student class. Okay, and for getters, we will put them in the public section because we want them to be callable by other parts of the program. Okay, great. So get name, get ID, and get major. That's step one. So the compiler now knows about the getters. Step two, now we have to go and implement them in student.cpp. Okay, and that's easy enough, all right? Let me copy my comment. So get ID will return the ID of the student, and get major will return the major of the student. So let's implement. So returns a string, it's the student class, and it's the method called get ID. Okay, and we're implementing, so we need curly braces, and we will simply return the answer, which is student ID. Okay, and then let's do the same. So return a string, it's the student class, and it's get major, and its implementation, so we use curly braces, so return student major. Okay, and that's our implementation. So step 2 is done. Now let's go to step 3, which is testing. So we go to main.cpp, and so we now know how to do that. So let me just copy this and paste and paste. So we can now say get ID, and down here we can say get major. Okay, and let's see what we get. Okay, so we get the names, we get the majors, sorry, we get the IDs, and we get the majors. Okay, so we have demonstrated that these methods, get name, get ID, and get major, are public. And they're public because we can call them, and the compiler does not complain and say that they are private. They are public. And so this is the way how we access the private variables inside a class. the class must provide getter methods. Getter methods. And this way, there is security, whereby if you want the name, you get the name, which means you cannot change the name. Okay, so when you say get name, you're given the name and that's it. If you had access to the private variables, then there is no saying what you might have done with them. You might have changed it, you might have deleted it, and we do not want that. So to protect your private variables, you always provide getter methods. Okay, so let's just say comment testing the getter methods of the student class. Okay, so I will leave this here, rather short video, and in the next video I want us to start looking at how we can change the private variables. So there might be cases where you want to update a student's name, you want to update the student's ID, maybe you want to update the student's major. Maybe the student decided that it was too much work to do IT, and so they want to go do something like, let's say, literature. Right? Maybe they decide they like reading. That's more fun. So we will also provide a way for them to change their major. Okay, so in the next video, we will look at how we can access and change the private variables. I'll see you in that lesson.